we're live.
Oh.
Hello, fanatics. Lenny here, Gibbo, Jono, and Wal. We don't have a plan for tonight. We're just going to make it up as we go.
Standard.
So welcome along. Oh, here we go. Found it.
Oh, yeah,
Found it early.
I haven't found it on tubes.
So if you've got a question for us or a stupid comment, we'll answer.
Yeah,
I
so
think,
okay.
I think we should probably open, we talked about it earlier, but we should open with the week in sport, but
Week in
in
sport.
sports turf.
Yeah.
And we probably had the primary event, the US Masters at
Yeah.
Augusta, Georgia.
Our man Mark Leishman did well, finished in the top 5.
Yeah.
Earned me some money. Thanks,
Yeah.
Leish.
Legend.
Add us some money too, as well as yourself.
Still waiting for when you oversay your front yard though, front/backyard.
We're just waiting for him to come back so he can play golf with us. That's all we're
How did Glenn get so handsome?
BJ, love your work. That'll be a cuddle later for you.
I'm pretty sure he's fallen on his face a few times.
And his.
Yeah, so the Augusta National Golf Club is a pretty sort of prestigious place. It's revered in the golf world, but there's a lot of dirty tricks they play.
So many dirty tricks. And in fact, to be honest, I think you know, I don't know, they've got a little bit of a bad name because people call it Augusta fever. So when it's on, everyone thinks they should aspire to what it is that they're delivering.
Yep.
When really what they're delivering is like this short-term aesthetic appeal. But in reality,
Yep.
if you look at Augusta across the course here, it's not what you think it is.
No.
It's completely different.
The place is only open for play 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
The rest of the time they're getting ready for the Masters.
How good. How good, I reckon. It's fully like a movie set. Really.
It is. It's like
it's
golf
just the
Hollywood.
full movie set.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Is
So
it called like Dollywood?
Gollywood. Yeah, Gollywood.
There's only
I remember Wally a couple of years ago we were even talking about how they grow the azaleas in a greenhouse on site so that they flower on the exact right day and then put them out.
they set
on
grow
the
lights
day.
up around the
Grow
plants so
lights,
that you get the
like-
right flowers blooming at the right
And
time.
also, they set the cold rooms at a certain temperature to initiate a flowering response, and then boom, as they're starting to come into bud, straight out into the field, plant them. They all flower, and it's like, oh, look at, the gardeners here must be amazing, but it's just a crew of thousands.
There's a couple of them like that at the players as well, though. I've seen a couple of the. I'm not on 17 with the island hole, but another of the island holes. All the pots are actually in plants, and they just replace them each day with the flowering plants because it's like full on. But Dan, Andrew, if you're listening, I expect that next week.
And you will hit your ball in there.
That's right. I'll be rummaging around with a 3-wood in there.
You read things like they import the pine needles. They're not actually from the trees falling. It's just falling from the trees. They actually bring them in and spread them out.
Yeah, wow.
Because you can't get that colour from those trees.
Yeah.
Different pine tree.
Yeah, and then cleanliness of like how it looks on the ground. It's almost like a perfect layer of mulch. Like they mulch with pine needles, which
I reckon actually good to hit off. It's like real slippery and stuff.
Yeah. I know. Well, we've got a leopard tree out the front, so
It's a metre deep too.
Trent Warren, the garage door's open, mate. They don't hit the bus down nothing. They can walk in and say g'day. They said if the police
Get involved.
busted down your garage door right now, I wonder what they would think was going on. Mate, Tuesday night shenanigans. This is what's going on. What else about Augusta? There's
the broadcast is sneaky as all hell.
Yeah, there's speakers hidden around the course, and they pipe bird noises in. There's no birds on site. They the same with the squirrels.
My dogs didn't like the bird noise at 3:30 in the morning. The other morning watched it. My sausage dog was like looking where it could chase birds and such.
He's got a black sausage dog, right? His name's Limo.
Stretch
right.
limousine.
Lowrider. Sweet.
The lowrider. Except he's getting real old, poor bugger.
Yeah,
He's not as much mayhem as your dog. Let's put it that way.
And but you look at just like the sheer colour on TV, like and it looks like they've adjusted the brightness. And I think there is a bit of brightness adjustment because they mentioned how dark it was at the end of, I think it was the Saturday play, so
Yeah,
like
when they
the
had the
second
storm.
last day.
Yeah.
Storms went through and they're like, it's way darker out there than what it shows on TV.
Yeah.
So obviously the brightness has turned up. The grass looks greener.
But that's just a natural thing, or a TV camera. They always make it brighter than what it is.
But I think also like they would use a good amount of colouring, but
sure.
also things like growth regulators and like a lot of like nitro iron style products like at that pointy end.
I reckon Fraser's still got them covered for product use though.
Justin Fraser.
The amount of product he pumps.
Mate, he should dead set glow in the dark. He should glow in the dark.
He's dead set. What's up with my grass? Just give it a rest.
Stop killing it.
Need more. Doesn't need more. Tick, 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 tick.
All right.
No,
well,
it doesn't. I'm
well,
going to use them anyway.
I got the first actual question from Sheldon Parker. Gents, is there any way to get rid of winter grass in rye/fescue? I've laid pre-emergent to stop any more from germinating.
There is, and it's extortionately expensive, and it's really only for the commercial sector. I don't think it's registered for residential.
Okay.
It's a new product. It's just come out. It's called biochar. Nadim's on the page. Nadim's Colin Campbell Chemicals is Nadim's runs that nationally.
Where's that
For
from?
turf and landscape. Look, I don't think you'd be able to afford it. It's not a cheap exercise using the active ingredients methoxylin. Nadim put a hell of a lot of work in. I think it took about 8 years to get it up into the market.
Yeah.
And really, it's more suited to a bent grass program and converting coarse wide, like from your bent green or like your bent pole greens to like almost pure bent.
Right.
Amazing. Like nothing has like things have been marginal in how well it treats power versus bent, and this is like the first product that you can over a period of 3 or 4 years completely convert your greens from bent power to pure bent.
Right.
If you follow the program, it's not cheap, but if you compare it to like fully replacing your greens or re-oversowing or whatever,
Yep.
it ends up being cheaper in the long run.
So really, it could all depend on what size yard he's got, if it's going to be value for money or not.
Well, I'd say talk to Nadim. I don't think it'll be registered for residential anyway.
Yeah.
If Nadim was interested, you could be the one and only trial site for Power Cure.
Hit him up.
No, Nadim, if you're listening.
Yeah, Nadim, where are ya?
No pressure.
Chadwick said, how stoked am I with the rye? I'm really stoked with it. It's
So stoked you just
Oh.
did angels.
no, and I just did lawn angels. That's why I've got a green hand. Like
Yeah.
it's to the chlorophyll comes off. It's unbelievable.
It's pretty
The
impressive.
back of his legs are green.
I'm impressed with the colour of it. Like normally, rye is like at that stage of like development. Like was it 3 weeks old, 4 weeks old?
Yeah, it's 3 weeks.
You haven't put any kind of nutritional treatment on it, other than
No,
all round.
I put that stuff down
Okay.
before.
So if you haven't put any
well,
like
when I
really
say
like
it, yeah.
deep greening effects and
No.
just the colour already,
Yeah.
and the quality already.
There's
so
no,
like-
there's no
Yeah.
iron or
Yeah.
sneaky stuff on
So
it.
just
It's
as like a cultivar blend, it's pretty. I'm pretty impressed.
It's
Yeah.
going off,
Like,
isn't it?
Would you recommend it to a new person to lawn? How difficult it? Mate, the process has been really easy. It's I would benefit from the fact that I've got good tools to do it with, but scalping it, anyone can scalp their lawn. But I've got a verticutter, so
Makes a big
that makes a huge difference. And then I threw out a mountain of seed, probably more than I needed to, but
Well, I oversaved the rye last year just on my back lawn,
yeah,
and
it's easy.
yeah,
It's not hard.
if I can do it, anyone can do it. Any no.
I think the you do get better strike with like verticutting because you're cutting through like that thatch layer, and sometimes what can happen is it can germ in the thatch layer. You get a bit of dry patch or something there, or it dries out more quickly. So if you're like missing irrigation or something, so like that early stage to cover your bum, so to speak, would be like just irrigate a little bit more than what you normally.
definitely.
Yeah.
You hear
you gotta
guys
keep the water up.
talk about it, rice paddying it. Like
Yeah.
it's almost wet to where you have surface
Yeah.
water. So
Yeah.
like sitting there.
So
Wants to be damp.
we've discussed it before. A lot of the homeowners, the main thing they're going to have at the end of the rye process is spraying it out, right? So chemicals can be expensive to do that.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
not
well,
just
you're looking at Monument, which is what $200,
Yeah.
100 mils.
So that's one of the,
Well,
considerations you've got to have when you
thing
decide
is
to oversow.
if you're a patient greenkeeper, backyard greenkeeper, and you're keen to have some patience tins, you can take it out with mowing height and drought stressing it and timing it like through the spring.
Yeah.
So like you can start to drop your mower down, like do it with your Reno. So like let's say your Reno like end of September, start of October, almost like that NRL grand final, AFL grand final time, like around there. Scalp it down, it'll come back, you'll get like the bigger plants will recover, but then you scalp down again and dust it and then just drought stress, the cooch will come through.
Yeah. So
Which is exactly what happened after you guys had been at my place. I did absolutely to get rid of my rye, and these boys came around while I was in hospital. And,
we did.
And had zero idea that they were there, and basically just got rid of every ounce of rye then. So yeah.
It needs about 30, well, depending on the cultivars and stuff, 30 to 50% more water. So if you're watering an inch a week, you might need 40 mil in that same week.
it's hungry on the fert too.
Yeah.
And eats more fert. Speaking of fert, Nick G says, "What's the best fertilizer to use for kikuyu?" Not so much
show it the bag.
Not so much. Yeah, not so much the best fertilizer. It's like we discussed last week. It's giving it the right amount of fertilizer.
And how it works for you. So how much do you want to be on your lawn doing stuff? You can actually, we spoke last week about if you get the right technology of fert, like that one there, we spoke about not premature.
I haven't moved it. It's
Or
been sitting in a week.
even that over there, like all round.
No, all round.
Or even that, if you want to go extreme, like that's a 5 time a year feed, that's a twice a year feed, and that's probably a once a year feed. If you want to put that kind of fert on your lawn, you can, and you can basically go and spread it at the right rate.
Yeah.
And as long as you know your rate over that longevity, you don't have to worry about feeding it again or putting anything else on it.
There's more beards than a ZZ Tom.
Who said that?
Is that a Ramstein t-shirt? Yes, it is a Ramstein t-shirt.
Yes.
I'm a big Ramstein fan. I love them.
Craig G says, "Thank very much for the Lawn Hub gear, boys. It arrived today." Post a photo, mate. Let's see what it all looks like.
Not in your mankini though.
No, not really. Thanks.
No one
We'll
needs to
save
say
that for Jono.
Harley, yeah, cool. The mics are working. The new one arrived yesterday.
What? There's a fair setup
Yeah.
of mics going on up there.
Yeah.
There's 2, 3, 4.
So good.
No, we're good. We're good to go.
If you can't hear Wally, it's because he's been presenting all day, so his voice is a little hoarse.
I'm being quiet.
Doesn't want the air horn again.
I'm scared of it.
Scared of it.
It's the best way to remove carpet grass from a small area of your nature strip. If it's a small area, get a screwdriver and
Hand weed,
Hand weed it.
or if you're happy to have the damage, glyphosate,
yeah,
like Roundup,
Yep.
and
There's a
spray
Paint
it
it
Paint
with
one.
a paintbrush.
down there in the corner.
Yeah.
They're good.
Weed ones are
weed one,
great.
or even a knapsack, like any type of knapsack, and barely have the pressure on, almost just dribble it on.
The easy way, that's the best
Yeah,
way.
you can do it.
Yeah, if it's a small area, we'll do it by hand. How do you kill off kikuyu in a blue cooch lawn?
Difficult.
If you had wintergrass,
I love
Well, hey, no, I got a really, there's a
There you
really
go.
unusual way
And
of getting rid of it.
Tech talk.
No, so, alright, you got 2 different grass types.
yeah,
There's nothing really registered to take kai out of blue, or even blue out of kai, but they have 2 massively different growth rates.
yeah,
One's a bit more, gets more suppression from Primo Max or growth regulator, and that's blue cooch. So you can knock blue cooch on the head with Primo Max, and the kikuyu will probably grow prouder of it.
Yep.
And so as soon as it starts growing prouder, you can probably weed wipe your kikuyu with glyphosate and
See?
actually take that out of the blue cooch.
Thinking out of the box. See?
And yeah,
Brilliant.
like that's a really good way of doing it.
Yep.
It's the right way of doing it because the chemicals are registered to do that, and you know it'll take a bit longer, but you'll have healthy blue cooch, and you can plug it back in as your kai's dying. So that would be the way I would do it in the long run.
That's good. Without going
yeah.
and using things that aren't registered.
Like poetry.
Good stuff.
Glenn's Gary smiles. When Wally talks, my cat sits down and stares at the screen. Is it true he can also talk to the animals, Gibbo?
Yes. Yes, it
Who
is.
has the biggest stamina bottle in the group? Me.
I actually
Orange Staminate. Bring back orange Staminate.
just
Jack
going
Orange
talking
Staminate.
to animals.
Yeah.
Because I've been working from home. I haven't been away. Like my role's national, so I haven't been away from home for like over a year. And I work with my 2 dogs in the study, and they just like sit there, and they must be good at turf by now, I reckon. Just taking it all in.
Didn't he bloody blow up a treat the other day when I come round?
Yeah.
Oh,
He was trying to get through the door.
it's
and
pretty
kill me.
scary, old Dougie.
Ooh.
Oh, no,
Blue
He's got a
colour.
good question down there, I think. It's-
no, don't worry about Clint. He gave away stuff last week, so we love Clint.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
I didn't get anything, but
No, I was still waiting on my.
Stitch up.
hoodie.
I was
Yeah.
still waiting on my stubby cooler from a current affair. Just
Will
saying,
my lawn
Clint.
come back from?
Was it got like Tracy Grimshaw?
No.
No.
Someone's wife poured boiling water on their lawn. Is it gone forever, or will it come back? It'll come back.
Come back.
It'll take time, but it'll come.
There's actually I think it's been shared on the page before, and councils are looking at it because like glyphosate
Steam
is
cleaning.
steam removal.
Yeah.
But it's generally contact, so if it's a rhizomatous plant or something, there'll probably be a bit of living there
Mm.
to cover.
Clint, on the topic of the Masters, you get 1 player and 3 clubs in a 2-person Ambrose. Who and what do you select?
Easy. John Daly.
Oh,
And just 3 woods.
I wouldn't make it if I was
He'd just grip it and rip it.
I wouldn't make it if I was playing with
It's
I'd be too drunk.
And a packet of darts.
just one? One for each normally.
I wouldn't take that player in the Masters that rage snapped his putter and had to
Play in his 3 wood.
had to putt with his 3 wood for the final
Yeah.
like 6 holes because he rage snapped his putter. Mine would obviously be Matsuyama if it was this Masters because
How
he
good do
won
they
it.
play?
You'd have to, you wouldn't go too far from Tiger though.
No.
Like, just
Oh,
the
not
way
right
that-
now.
Yeah. Oh,
You'd have to
But no,
carry.
You'd have to
no.
carry him. What a playing for the card, he'd still
How's
beat me.
how's his form though? He was doing 145 k's an hour in a city zone.
In a rental car.
Wow, loan car.
That's what they're for. Loan cars.
Mm.
Seriously
Rental
fast.
cars and company cars.
Yeah.
The only 2 cars that can run without oil.
They
I
need
hope
to
my
slow
boss-
down for
I
round.
hope my boss isn't watching.
change that
Jason
one.
Mahatch is we need to release the final ingredient in an awesome lawn. Must feed it tool songs on a slow, constant basis.
That's why Lenny's lawn has taken off.
Slow release tool.
It's the tool pumping through the headphones when I'm mowing it.
Yeah.
I love tool. I
Yeah.
love tool.
And the music too.
It's too easy.
Kyle, how can I encourage Kaiku and hang on, where'd that go? And Buffalo to spread? Well, fertilise them and mow them often.
Mow off.
That's it.
Sprig them as well. Like if you're trying to get to areas that are a distance away from your lawn, cut little nodes.
Pro
and
plugger.
Screwdriver.
Yeah.
Plant it in and keep it moist.
Yeah.
Plugging. Yeah.
Plugging away.
Lenny's finally got his pro plugger back after like 6 months.
Yeah, it's still in the back of the truck.
It's-
Depending on the type of kaiku they have, you can get kaiku seed as well.
Yeah, you can.
It's
Yeah.
doable.
Thumbs up to Clint. That's because Bradley got himself a merch pack last week. And Clint says more coming to us apparently. Yay!
Perfect.
You've been watching Buffalo versus Wintergreen battle over summer on his nature strip. Heard eventually Cooch will win. Is this true? Buff has it on the ropes at the moment.
Been
Buffalo
watching.
versus Wintergreen.
Been watching Buffalo battle wintergreen,
Yeah,
and Buff has it on the ropes.
yeah. That's
Well, they-
mate, you live in
Watch your
Bizarro
space.
reverse world.
What are they doing to it?
Yeah.
What's the soil? Like, there's probably like a lot of things that are making it favourable for Buffalo.
Happening there.
Is it like I'd say that Buffalo is actually less drought tolerant, so they might be overwatering. If they change the watering regime, it might actually favour the cooch.
Yep.
They're using wetting agent, growth regulator. What rated growth regulator? Buffalo's got a higher rated growth regulator on label. So like if you're going at the cooch rate, you may not be regulating Buffalo, so it's like competing it. There's tons of things that are pointing
So
it
many
towards.
options.
Yeah.
No. You got any? No.
No.
Thoughts on cutting the grass short?
This time of year. Or?
Now, what's your thoughts on cutting the grass short? Makes my grass grow slower. My clients always ask me this. Is it true or not?
I don't think so.
No, I'm going to say no.
Yeah,
I-
I'll say no to that one.
I think it depends on the regularity of cut
I think,
more than anything.
yeah. I
If
don't-
you're cutting it weekly low, then you're sticking to the 1/3 rule. Yeah, you're good. But if your lawn's this high, then you
It really depends. Like, there's so many other factors that will affect growth rate of the grass, like your environment. Like, you look at what we've had. Like, if you're South East Queensland, for example, the last kind of 3 or 4 weeks prior to like this week, we've had pretty much cloud cover. So growth rate's probably been more elongated than anything, and not really very much energy to actually photosynthesize and spread properly. So like a lower cutting height's probably been a bad thing for like this kind of cloud cover. But look, certainly like you can potentially stress the grass more when you're cutting it lower if you're not giving it the right kind of consumables or inputs to cater for that grass height and the frequency. But I don't think it's going to change the growth rate.
It still has to grow at the same rate.
Correct.
Unless you're putting something on there to
boost it.
Or growth regulate it.
Yeah.
Like. And then if you are cutting it lower, are you using growth regulators? Because that's going to be favourable with cutting it lower. You know, it does make the plant elongate, or not elongate, but like grow more lateral.
Yeah.
So cutting it lower is probably a good thing for that kind of scenario.
Sheldon Parker just said $1,360 for pure checked.
But you got to look at
how much you use.
well, what the effective dose rates. But so for him, I don't. Yeah, he might be able to talk to Nadine.
We've touched on that. Yeah, talk to Nadine.
It's the best rate for PRG overseed. Put these down at 4 kilos per 100. Have good even growth, but it's not overly thick. Should I go again in a few weeks?
When did
you do it, Benjamin James? Because it needs time to thicken up. It goes through a process called tillering, where the individual plants actually get more leaves growing out of it, so your lawn gets thicker.
To give you an idea, like a football stadium, or like I know like a Premier League stadium as an example. A lot of them, like between like the start of renovation to like when training stops and then when training starts again, it's like a 6-week gap. So they got 6 weeks to get it from, you know, overselling to full cover. And so they do everything they can. They use like grow covers across the whole lot. And by about week 3, like it really starts to like put a lot of energy into like tillering. And so that's when once it's
4 weeks ago, he says. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So right where he is now, like kind of up your inputs to get it to move.
More fert.
And you can even look into plant growth regulators.
Like,
Huge relationship between plant growth regulation and increased tillering.
Foliar feed your grass. So liquid fert.
Liquid.
Well, that's just iron.
Yeah. Oh, I'm plant doctor, sorry.
Yeah. Activate, mate, extra is good. We've got, and what's the, I've got
Orange staminate.
orange staminate.
Look, a good base granular feed at the start as
Yeah.
well, like right now.
Yeah.
You'll probably find will help. And then if you want to do like colours, like just little colour bursts, like short, sharp, like activate, liquid iron, power feed, like there's any number of liquid products you could use to apply to it.
Many. Very rude, Wally, because you didn't answer his call. Now listen here, pal, Malacca. I rang you this morning and you didn't answer my call.
I rang him,
And you know where we'd be on a Tuesday night.
I rang him this afternoon and he didn't answer me call.
Ah!
Truth
There
comes
we
out.
go.
So
Yeah,
what's that?
yeah,
What's
yeah,
that like?
yeah.
2 vs 1? What up?
Robert Kirkpatrick. Just done a dicamba spray on the lawns. What's the lead time for a mow? Both before and after a spray. It's long and I'm having anxiety.
It says on the label.
What is the label?
Read the label, bro.
But the other thing with the label is
Reliable EPs, he says.
as if I can pull it up. Anyways,
Here we go.
the other thing it says is I think it's like 2 days either side, like 2 days before don't mow and 2 days after, and it's mainly to keep the herbicide on the leaf. Like it's just the concept of if you mow, the actual weed leaves won't be there for the herbicide to contact, and then if you mow after it, they're not there to take it in. So
Well, you mentioned that in that video you did with the reason for
It's like having.
It's gonna sound so bad. I'm like,
Yeah, this is where you're gonna
just
be
under
like
the
this.
desk.
Well, I did a bit
But-
more research into
Bright
the
yellow,
shenanigans too.
Bright yellow
I think the
Saturday.
thing like a lot of the time with like lawn care, but even like with labelling, is just having like a bit of common sense. Like if you paint a house, you don't go and sand it 2 days after. So why would you go and mow your lawn 2 days after spraying it? Because it's kind of like you're painting it with that.
Mm.
You want contact to that. So it's like a similar kind of concept.
And even with it being a little bit longer at the
2
moment,
days.
it is getting a little bit cooler. A little bit longer, it won't hurt it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not going to go nuts.
But if it's, your growth is going to slow down as well. So it's not like, if you leave it a couple extra days, it's not like it's going to grow 3 inches.
No.
Your growth's slowing down as well. Tim Wright.
TV.
Oh yeah,
That's-
nice leader. He said it's your shout when you get down to Victoria and you can travel.
Oh, it's supposed to be down there. That's why it was online today.
Michael's saying,
What
hey guys, can I use an aerator with hollow tines without filling the holes? With holes, or would you recommend you always fill with sand, even with solid tines? No, you can leave the holes open.
especially this time of year.
Leaving it open, look, I got nothing to base this on, but it's just my own theory.
Got a pretty bit of
Many hours
experience.
spent aerating. Wonder what happens.
Yeah.
So they say leave the holes open because you get that air in. Oh, mate, I don't think you get too much air breeze flowing into a
No.
bloody hole in the
I
lawn.
think it's great in like the Australian Reno company that makes stuff for the PGA Tour, like a lot of the PGA course, like renovation equipment, like walk behind. They've done well, like how much of the surface you affect when you aerate or
Yeah.
certify, and it's I think when you core, depending on like your tine size, it's about 3% of that volume of soil that you actually affect or you pull out potentially. So you're really only potentially affecting 3% of the oxygen availability to your root zone. I think the thing with it is it's not a question of like should you fill them again. It's a question of what do you want to do to your lawn like over a period of renovations. Like do you want a sandier profile?
Yeah.
Because then it means fill it with sand.
Yeah.
Is your soil pretty good? Then pull the cores, leave them there, bust them up with the mower later,
Yeah,
and kind of top dress with your cores.
because that's your organic material. The
Yeah.
cores.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
So my theory is, as the tine goes in hollow or core, and it starts to come out, as it pops out, it sucks air down into there. So it's fracture that profile, and as it pops out, it sucks air down, and that's the aeration. It goes into the profile that way. But I don't think if that's a hole and a breeze is blowing, it's going to go.
No.
I don't think that happens.
And there's only so
I've never
much
been down
air.
an aeration hole to find out, but
Too big.
Mate,
You
if
have
you
to
can
need
ask
some
it-
serious times.
if you can ask a kid down the bottom of a well, little Timmy.
What the breeze is like there.
Well,
Do
it-
you
basically-
need a jumper?
But it's not so much just like the hole itself. It's like it's breaking the actual surface tension of your lawn as well.
That's
Like
it,
there's
yeah.
so many other things that
Yeah.
it's not just like a void for oxygen.
No.
It's like we had 300 mils in the last 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Still can't walk on my back lawn.
Yeah, but like my lawn's on quite a slope, and I was like, damn, I wish I had a cord because like a lot of that water would have actually it
Yeah.
would have broken the surface tension.
true.
But because I've been mowing it with like a real mower for heaven knows how long,
You-
it's kind of a firm surface, and
Yeah.
the water was just kind of overland flowing up.
You
past
can
it,
you can
know?
leave them open
Yeah.
because the grass will find it out, seek it out, and grow down there.
And I guess it also comes down to what you want to do with your lawn.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like why you
Like
aerating or
Walsh,
why you coring.
I think a huge thing that there's kind of there's a lot of different types of soil tests you can do. Like you can do a nutrient test, but you can also do like the actual type of soil that you have test, and it's as simple as like a jar test. Like take a couple of samples, shake it up in a jar, and then you get settling of your sample. I think we've posted photos of it. We've had members post photos of it. We've spoken about it. If you went jar test soil on the Fanatics page, it'll come up how to do that, and it'll tell you it'll give you a rough idea based on like the amount that settles, the percentages of sand, silt, and clay in your soil profile.
Yeah.
and you might find that it becomes compacted very easily because your silt and clay percentage is really
Way
high,
high.
and your sand isn't enough. So that does mean you probably need to fill core holes with sand, you know. Or if it's quite sandy and you don't have a lot of organic matter, it means you might need to look at like a compost blend to when you aerate to fill
really
that.
beef it back up.
Yeah.
So realistically, no, there's no issue with using whatever time you want to aerate, whatever time you want.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Just do it. Hamish, here we go, and there's another one about biochar and carbon products. Load up on that.
Hi Hamish, thanks for your question.
Getting Tip Top laid in the next week or so in South East Queensland. He's got a 3,000 litre water tank. Obviously not very big, but should he use it all up and then switch to mains or alternate between the two? You'll use the 3,000 litres in about 15 minutes, mate.
Yeah.
How big's your tank? Do you remember?
6,000.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
it's
so we
just-
drained that in one afternoon after we renovated your
Yeah.
lawn.
It's just,
Just on the back.
it's just volume mathematics. So like 100 square metres, let's just say, how many square metres of tip top did you say? Oh, okay. So
I
if you
think
lay,
he's getting like 150 from memory.
alright, well let's just say 100 for simple math, because I'm
Were
a
you
simple.
involved in the transaction, were you?
Yes.
Are you like a perpetrator?
No,
So-
I've just had lots of friends ask me about turf all the time.
So when you talk about like rainfall, they talk about like millimetres of application.
Yeah.
So over 1 square metre, 1 litre is 1 millimetre. And so over 100 square metres, 100 litres is 1 millimetre. Times that by 10 millimetres is 1,000. So you're gonna potentially 30 millimetres is what your 3,000 litre water tank can do over 100 square
Which
metres.
is one afternoon of
Yeah.
watering.
Well, if
Yeah.
you laid new turf, you probably want to water every day to keep it moist. Like I know, Cooch is a bit different as Aussie, but it's generally like a good saturation in the morning, a little bit like early afternoon, just to keep the water up to it every day for probably not as bad now. But let's just say you did 7 mil a day, and you started on a Monday. By Saturday, that tank would be gone.
Yeah.
Because it'll be 35 mil. You'll already be 5 mil into your town water. So
You
it's
should have done it 3 weeks ago before the rain, Hamish.
Well, how well did you time your Sir Grange,
no.
mate?
Yeah, but I didn't time that. I didn't have time to oversow. So now I'm chasing my tail trying to get the water on.
Now I'm going to have to look after me leftover rice seed.
Yeah. Don't turn your back, man.
What's your opinion on granular biochar carbon products? Seems to be all the rage in the US. Carbon is coal.
Yeah, well,
Well, knows a bit about that too, pushing it around for
I
20
pushed
years.
around a lot of carbon in my time, pal.
look,
Usually in big bulldozers loading ships.
there's a common misconception that an amendment is a fertilizer when it should just be called an amendment. And so biochar is an amendment. It's not a fertilizer.
Yeah.
And so what I mean by that is you shouldn't be spreading it at fertilizer rates on your lawn and expect to see a difference. Because like we talked about the volume of water before. It's the same with soil. You know, like if you take like a square meter of soil and it's a sand, like let's just say it's a sand soil, and it might be, I don't know, let's just say it's, I don't know what carbon it'll be. Like let's just say it's 25% carbon or whatever, and that product is 60% carbon by weight. So every kilo you put out, you're putting 600 grams of carbon. But then your sandy soil is 300 millimeters deep, and it's got a bulking factor of 1.4. So it might be, you know, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It ends
so
up being like 300. Let's just say 300 kilos times 1.4 ends up being like 500 kilos of soil.
Yeah.
And you're adding, what did I say, 300 grams or
Yeah.
whatever to that. You're adding less than 1% of carbon to that actual surface. So it's not really like, it'll take you
forever.
a really, 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 really long time. So the time to put carbon in or biochar in is go, okay, what's my soil volume? How much do I need to get to X% carbon now? And add it at that stage of construction, then put the turf on top. That's the time to do it.
I would hate to see if Wally didn't feel like talking tonight.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if he did feel like talking, we'd be in so that air hole would be empty.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a guy in the US on the tubes, the dock, who at one stage, we were talking about it, you and I, he was saying about putting bird food on his lawn to increase something. I can't remember what it was. But you and I sat down and we were giggling our guts out at it, and we worked it out. And he said it would be like such a great improvement to your lawn. We worked it out the race he was doing. It'd take like 30 years
Yeah, to make
any difference to his
a
soil.
change that had to be done at construction at the right rate, the cost as well. And you've got to think about the implications of what you're spreading. So like you're spreading a carbon product, right? Then you've got a USGA root zone. And so we know that carbon has a cation exchange capacity, so it holds moisture and nutrient against it. And so you spread that on the surface, it's not going to just magically break down because it's generally inert. It's not going to magically break down and permeate into your surface. What's it going to do? It's going to sit on the surface.
Yeah.
And so you might find that if you go and spread like these organic products on your surface, you might find the incidence of things like moisture pooling on your surface all of a sudden, and then successive use. Oh, I'm getting disease that I've never seen before. Why is that? Because the moisture is being held at the surface.
Yeah.
You're getting more thatch accumulation in the surface, and then you see things like pythium or brown patch or rhizoctonia, or because that's conducive conditions favouring disease development in the surface of your turf sward. Yeah.
What I think you need to take into account with this is, and look, all out to them. If you can make money out of doing things on YouTube, mate, good on you. Like, absolutely good on you. No issues with that.
Yeah.
But take into account that a lot of the guys that are doing that sort of stuff, the US guys, are probably being paid to do it, or they're getting a stipend or a commission on sales or whatever to be shown using that product.
That question's quite
and that's
timely.
fine. Like,
because I presented on organic.
I don't make a cent out of YouTube.
I presented on organo minerals today to KMB, and our international tech manager has a phrase like, if someone can show me a good organo mineral that can do marketable claims like increased CEC, increased moisture holding capacity through a fertilizer application rate, because he says they make claims, but if you went back and looked at like the scientific literature, it's actually at extortionate rates. It's like rates of like 100 kilos per 100 square meters. You know, three applications within a year, and it's like, how do you well, one, afford that, and then two, like deliver that effectively with not having granules sitting everywhere on the surface of your turf. You know? So like you've got to look at the underlying research behind that product and the marketable claims that they're coming up with, and go, well, hang on, that just mathematically can't work, and then go, well, maybe it works as an amendment, and that's probably where they're actually meaning.
Great articles online, hollow versus solid time. Yep, there are, but make sure it's something that's, you know, from a proper trial, not just someone trying to sell a product.
I think the USGA have some really good articles on that, like the US Greens Association, the guys that like manage all the courses in the US, like the masters and stuff. Like they talk about the benefits of doing things differently. They're good ones to look for.
Can you get Kikuyu to take over Zoysia? He laid Kikuyu and there's a little patch of Zoysia left and he wants the Zoysia gone.
I think that's very easy to do because they have two hugely conflicting growth rates.
Yeah.
I'd spray like, well, maybe just glypho, Zoysia.
Yeah.
And then just plug your Kikuyu in.
Yeah.
Or just let it take over because it will.
Yeah.
Up your nutrition because Zoysia doesn't like high nutrition.
Zoysia will get fat and sick, whereas a Kikuyu just go, ha ha!
Yep.
So Zoysia.
You're not sure. That's me over here.
I haven't seen Gibbo come out yet.
Well, he's around here somewhere, really.
Yeah. Where are we? Manny again. You have irrigation, Wally.
Yep.
I'm sure he does.
No.
That's it.
That's it. Well done, mate.
Yeah, he puts chook food pellets on his lawn. Yeah, that's
Who? I do.
No, the doc. Mate, he is the prime example of someone who's there to sell a product and not actually give you information.
It's probably, yeah.
I mean, but look,
I don't want to
let's look at our mate Ben Sims, right? He's a champion because he goes through the process of how to do things and he gives you good advice on doing it.
What we've seen in
He makes
care
money.
over here.
But he deserves every cent of it.
Yeah, but we've seen like solutions and evidence-based way of doing things ahead of selling the product to deal with the solution.
Yeah.
We kind of like Ben does it differently. We do it similarly, like in that we're not trying to sell anything. We're trying to actually fix problems for people and solve problems for people.
Yeah.
And if that product has the fit, that's the right product to use. It's not like use this product because it's the silver bullet and solves.
Yeah, and that's what the doc does.
And I think that's really dangerous.
He's all there to. He's just there to sell product.
I think beware of like that too. Like you mentioned like the biochar and like there's a lot of products out there like biostimulants and that. Beware of the post hoc fallacy in the turf industry because there's a hell of a lot of them. And what I mean by post hoc fallacy, it's like I put this on my lawn and it made this kind of improvement, but that's one of a suite of 20 other things that you're doing to your lawn as well.
Yeah.
You've got to kind of maybe record your own, maintenance or what it is you're doing. What's your cutting height? What's your climate like? What's the fertilizers you're putting on your lawn? And then if you go and put a biostimulant on or seaweed and it makes a bit of a difference, then it's probably all of those things in combination, not just that one thing in isolation. And I think that's the danger that a lot of companies and people fall into.
The other thing about that doc, he's got other channels. He's got another one where he sells gold sieves, like he does gold mining sieves.
Yeah, right.
And there's another one where he's a soccer coach and he sells soccer equipment and training packages for.
Jack of all trades.
Oh, he's out to make a dollar. He's just there to make a dollar. Because he says in his videos that he worked on golf courses, and so he could have been the golf cart girl selling drinks.
He could have been selling soccer gear to golf players.
That's right. Yeah, he could have been.
Good on him.
He never makes the claim that he was a golf course super or he was an agronomist or he was a greenkeeper. He never says those things. He says he did work on golf courses.
Yeah.
So he could have been selling programs or something in a tournament. Who knows?
I think you got to look at maybe not look at credentials of people, but look into what it is that they're feeding you. There's so much information out there, and I'd say don't so much look at marketable information. There's Google Scholar online.
Yeah.
If you're unsure about something, type Google Scholar in, then type what it is you're looking for. You'll find the science, the research-based, evidence-based research around it.
And it's not people just trying to sell you a product.
No, these are people that have probably done research through a government program that then get peer reviewed by a fraternity, like a group of scientists that overview their work.
It's in your bloody speakers up if you can't hear us.
He's got his full volume on YouTube. Do we not have them linked to the YouTube one?
Yeah, we do. The bottom one's the YouTube, the top one's the facey.
To give you an idea, I think I was looking the other day, there's 4,000 odd research papers on dollar spot. Dollar spot's been a thing of late. There's 4,000 research papers, but there's about 300
so we need to move
of them
over there
that are actually peer reviewed.
Yeah.
So that's not even 10%, and it's those 300 that are the good ones, and the ones you should be looking at because they're the ones that have had the rigorous and robust testing by the scientific community.
Correct.
Ryegrass overseas, he's 6 weeks in. Can he put down oxyfer? Is it too soon?
That's fine.
Too soon. Is it?
Yeah.
It's already germinated, so it's good to go.
Yeah. Yep, as long as you're comfortable with the depth of your roots, but I think you should be okay. Oxyfer's pretty safe on existing roots. It's not like other.
I wouldn't use barricade or something.
No, I'd steer clear of that. It does say on the Oxyfer label though, delay applying after laying turf and seeding for a period of time. And I think it might be 6 weeks. I think
there's
it's
another
6 to
one
8
with
weeks.
bow and arrow. You can't use that and then seed afterwards because it hampers the seed generation.
Yeah. A lot of you'd be surprised. A lot of herbicides have an effect on after application on germination.
Yeah.
Particularly broadleaf herbicides, more than you'll know.
Yep.
Well, this is what you were talking about, a certain product once that it can make your soil sterile if you spray it too often.
And that's altering. Hortex sprayer or normal sprayer for soil amendments? I would say your normal backpack sprayer because you get accuracy with your applications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only thing Hortex is for is Caesar, really.
The only thing Hortex is for putting car washing and washing your car.
Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, we haven't even looked at it, but if you look at the time it took you to knapsack it on versus Hortex it on, it's probably actually less time to knapsack it
Yeah,
on and get it
definitely.
right, get your
Yeah.
rate right, and then just crank the irrigation on.
Best preparation for winter. He's got cooch.
Look at your cutting heights,
Height of cut. Whatever.
height of cut. A lot of, we see it a lot, and I've seen it a lot in the turf industry. Where people say like change up your nutrition and, like there is things you can do like changing your nutrition at this time of year, but then there's like upping the potassium and stuff. But then there's only so much potassium the plant can take in relation to the nitrogen that you're giving it as well. So like I'd look at maybe your temperatures, like your soil temps, and go, well, if I'm going to put this much potassium out, can I still get a bit out of the nitrogen as well? Because generally, like if you were to tissue analyze like a warm season, like cooch plant as an example, it'll have 4% nitrogen in its leaves and 2% potassium. So generally the ratio you want to give it is 2 to 1.
Yeah.
So like if you're giving it a 20% K product and a 10% N product, it's kind of backwards to how the turf takes it anyway. So like you probably still want to give it good baseline nutrition in an instance anyway. So I think look at your nutrition, cutting heights. If you're using growth regulators, start backing it off because the temperature will growth regulate anyway. Look at your moisture management. Like if you're on a wetting agent, you might be able to look at a penetrant. Like we know seaweed secrets is more of, not seaweed secrets, it's
Nature's soil wetter.
Nature's soil wetter is actually more a penetrant than it is a moisture retaining agent. So you might be able to look at something like that to get water through, particularly like this time of year. Because if you get that water like caught at the surface, it can induce disease and things like that. So tons of things you can do.
Best way to create a green with green cooch.
Mow low.
That stuff right there.
Yeah, just well.
Not that. Can't see it on the screen. The iron.
Does he mean create a green or create a green like a golf green?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he means golf green.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying if you want a dark green, use that.
I think a great way to create a golf green is what's called a pop-up. Like say like if you've got existing cooch.
Yeah.
Like either scalp it down or spray an area out and then like add an X amount of just straight sand to it. And then either sprig it like with wintergreen or go to your local bowling greenkeeper or a golf course and ask them for sprigs.
Yeah, when they're spread.
Planted.
When they're renovating.
The grow covers from Bunnings, the ones for like, I think I used one, I think I posted it on there, I can post it on there for you if you want. You put that over the top and you peg it down, put the water on, 8 to 10 weeks you'll have a golf green basically. Make sure you start cutting it low at about week 4.
I'm currently doing some stuff at a golf course and they've got 2 greens that are wintergreen. And they're surviving at 4 mil because I cut them at 4 mil. And they're surviving. They're patchy. They're not good.
Yeah,
But that's just because 3 to 8's like $40 a square metre, and it's not. You know, it's
You'd be
hard
surprised,
for a
like
small club that doesn't have a huge membership to do that.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised at the speed of growing of like even just like a greens grass Bermuda, like they call them ultra dwarf Bermuda versus just like a common or like a hybrid, like a Tiff Tuffy type.
Yeah,
it's about the same. As long as you get your sprig rate right.
Yeah.
And you do all your prep work and you feed properly, like you use control release and stuff, or slow release, and you keep your water up to it. It'll be about 8 to 10 weeks and you have full colour.
We'll better speed this up a bit. What's the shortest you've seen Kaikiu? Haven't any stupid questions yet. We need some.
Yeah, we need some G-up questions.
We need some G-up stuff.
Shortest I've seen.
Where's Ben Cameron when you need him?
Yeah.
You see it at some of the
Glenn Russell had, he's pretty short, like 8 mil or something.
You see it at some of the golf courses down south, premoed up to its eyeballs on like fringes.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm talking like 5-6 mil.
There's like cut collars at 8 mil. So.
Yeah. Well, you got a bit of kike there. You can cut it lower though. Like
Yeah.
If you
Winter's fairways are all kike, and
Yeah.
8 to 10, I think.
Yeah.
Most of them.
And they look
It's so mint at the moment.
A lot of
It's
people
so
remove
cool.
Kaiku, but it's actually, of the warm season grasses, it's actually one of the most winter active. Because if you look at where it's from, it's like from South Africa. It's quite a high altitude where it's from, and so it handles like that bit cooler weather.
That's why all the Toowoomba fanatics all have
Yeah.
kaiku.
And it does handle the cooler weather, and it goes like much later into the season. So like, you know, it is an option.
Any tips or ideas for soil love? Conditions soil love? Grass angels.
Soil on. How much do you want to have your soil? No.
Don't get Wally started on this one. The
Get
a-hole will
aerating
come
in,
out.
in the nude. Over the cold period in preparation for heavy reno core dress come October. What should you do between now and October to get your soil right in Victoria?
I reckon just stay on top of your weeds so that when you renovate,
Specifically,
you're good to go.
specifically
That's
northern
one.
Victoria, which is like half an hour's drive from southern Victoria.
Just south of North Victoria.
That's right.
Well, well, what is it like? Cool temperate, so it's like gets rainfall during winter.
Yeah.
Moisture management.
Yeah.
So like look at a penetrant agent to
Yeah.
try and like dry it out a bit.
Yeah.
You don't want it too wet because you'll end up like it'll be a boggy marsh and
Yeah.
And you'll be on the back foot with fungus or disease before you even get started.
Cutting heights now is like if what is it? Cooch, is it?
Cocky.
Correct.
Like cutting heights, you could lift your cutting heights. You could use some like liquid products like liquid iron, which was on the table before, like real like leaf hardening, leaf darkening things like iron, magnesium. You could look at like calcium amendments this time of year. There's tons of things you can play around with that'll take it into winter well.
Oh, it's just a funny story. I only said that about half an hour's drive because I had a mate who lives in Geelong, and he's telling me that they come up to the Gold Coast for a family holiday, and his dad said, "Oh, we should drive up to Cairns for the day." He didn't realise how far it is. It's mate, it's 2,000 k's to Cairns from bloody
We had
Same
these
with all my English mates when they come out here from when I
Yeah.
lived in England.
I had no
They
idea.
come out here and then I was like, all right, what do you want to see while you're here? I'll see what we can do. And they give me a list and you're like, there's about
Nice.
14 days of pure driving in
Yeah.
that
we,
alone.
we had
Like,
these family friends that used to go for Sunday drives, like real old school, like because they
Yeah.
grew up with like in the Lockyer Valley, like between Brizzy and they had an FJ Holden, two of them, and the whole family used to jump in like both of them and go, let's go for a Sunday drive, and they'd end up at like Rockhampton, just on a casual Sunday
Really?
drive from there. So it's like 7.5 hours
Now
through like
what
all
we
the
do-
back roads.
have a steak and go home. You know? There's not much to see there.
What do
Really.
you do about buffalo runners that keeps going over the top?
Porpoising,
Yeah.
verticoing. I don't
Yeah.
know. Oh,
That's just
Call that.
that's just the growth habit of the grass.
it's maintenance as well. Like you probably want to like, it's your mowing heights and the way you're nipping into the crown. As
You
well.
you got to be the boss of buffalo, don't you?
Yeah.
And just teach it a lesson every now and then.
Grab the buffalo by the horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, like,
That's how we-
you see guys that go, oh, it was coming up, so I raised the mower up a bit, and then I raised the mower up a bit, and then all of a sudden, as you got a hedge, teach it who's boss, mate. Just put
It's
new
like
blades on
Jono's
and
beard.
smash it.
There's like
Yeah.
runners everywhere.
Any truth in the claims re-wetting agents, surfactants being effectively used as liquid soil aeration?
You having a stroke over there, mate?
I think.
It's more penetrant than aeration, really, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no physical aeration of a surfactant. It's just that exactly what Lenny said. If you push the water through, there's no water in the pore spaces, so there's more oxygen there then.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not so much liquid aeration. It's just the fact that the surfactant might be acting or spreading that water load more. Gravity then takes it through, and then there's oxygen in your root zone. So it's not liquid aeration.
No.
That is one of the biggest marketing hypes in surfactants.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as that. Like, how can you get more oxygen out of
What are you
putting out a
looking at?
liquid product?
I've got a question here.
What's red juice?
Clint D'Souza. What's red juice? Do any of you guys use Fusilade, who was supposed to kill couch grass, but ended up killing the Zoysia matrella as well?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not registered,
Mm.
but also like its registration is like rights away from memory, and it's very much like a commercial use herbicide and some pasture. You got to be very careful
Any
with
Cameron's
the rates as well.
We
Like
gotta get Benny over.
fluazaflop on its own, like which is the active ingredient, is and it comes in a range of label rates. It's really
So good.
So just a bit of Fusilade there in that cup.
Yeah.
No, it's a harsh chemical. Like I think it's something like 10 mil per litre per 10 square metres will kill most warm season
Pretty much
turf grasses. And so,
So
you're probably
really,
going at
the
too high
advice you
rate.
got,
Just
about
follow
it,
the
that
label and don't use it.
if someone said this is what it does, they've lied to him. Really.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what we're
Well,
talking about there.
technically, yeah. Well, there is some work. I actually worked on a project where you can actually take Bermuda and a lot of grasses. Like you can take Bermuda out of zoysia or green cooch out of zoysia. And you can take pretty much every grass out of Queensland blue cooch if you get the rate right. But you don't. It's not that chemical in isolation. It's with another chemical. It was during research trials. I'm not going to tell you what chemical it was. If you want to know, send me $10 in the minute. No, but there is actually a chemical that safens it as well.
Wally doesn't make money
not
from
terms
YouTube, but he
registered,
does
is
make
it?
it from bribes.
we harp on all the time about follow the label is the reason that, and that's the reason because, you know, you end up with dead grass if you don't follow it. If you're a backyard scientist, good for you.
Most of the fanatics have kids. The only way I can go about the label is if you're going to give your kid some medication out of the cupboard, and what do you do first? You read the label, put in a syringe, I need 5 mils of that, and that'll shut him up. Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
You do not feed your kid. As Lenny said on a current affair, it was like one of my kids was sick.
Yeah.
What do? You read the label. It's just so frustrating. We talk about it all the time, but it's so true. Like,
And I think also too that if sometimes I'm guessing labels can be a little bit hard to understand for some people.
yep.
Yeah.
And if you can't understand it, ask the question.
Mm.
Don't
But
just go.
the priority
I think
would
this
be-
is it. If you're not sure,
Yeah.
just ask the question.
Hey,
The priority is have a read of it yourself. If
Yeah.
you can't understand it,
Yeah.
then ask.
take a photo of the label and then ask us, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Can you help me understand this? And we'll happily do that.
Yeah.
Happily.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of the labels are in just like litres per hectare. It just means convert the litres to millilitres, so times the litres by 1,000, and then divide it by 100.
100. Yeah.
So if it's like 10 litres a hectare, you go 10,000 millilitres, and then divide it by 100. It's 100 mils per 100 square metres.
Yeah. I do it very simple. A hectare is 10,000 square metres.
Yep.
Say the label rate for barricade is 3 litres
Per hectare.
per hectare.
Yep.
Take a 0 off the end of that, 0 off the end of that. Keep
Same.
going until the top one says 100.
Yeah.
Take the exact amount of zeros off the top one as you do the bottom one, and you end up with the same.
Yeah.
Turf decision was laid late in the area. Perhaps put down a premium underserved soil, laid Sir Grange, which can prefer sand. Have added sand through Reno and top dress. Given that you and I are both moving towards Grange,
He has moved.
He has
moved.
It's
I've got
moved in.
I've got it in.
thoughts on prep for Grange? Does temp location change requirements for this? Interested to hear if you have or will put down sand before laying your
Send me
Grange.
$10 in the mail.
No, well, I did. I think in the post.
You-
if
his
you
is
have a
all
look in the
sand.
post,
Yeah.
I put a good amount of sand. I put at least 100 to 150 mil
Stretch.
across the surface of USGH cement
Oh,
that
mate.
was blended.
Yep.
I don't have an extra knee halfway up my shin.
But
My knee's halfway up your shit.
yeah, I think Grange comes from like a lot of the time like that Matrella is on coastal outcrops and stuff in Southeast Asia, so it does just grow naturally in sand, and I think it just survives off decaying minerals in the sand, so that's why it's got such like a low nutrient requirement.
How do you fertilise zoysia? This is what fertiliser looks like.
Yeah.
Put it away.
No, the best way to fertilise zoysia is with a really long-term, slow or controlled release, like something that lasts a long time and get your rate right. And go low rates, so like a 4 to 5 month product that's 20% N. If you go at 2 kilos, you're putting on roughly half a kilo of actual N for that 4 to 5 month period, and that's half the yearly requirement. So it's really.
Benny Cameron, sorry boys, I've rolled in late, but he's got a question. Has Wally left?
No, I'm still
He
here.
was booked last week and he's still going.
He's in the same clothes.
Would Jono and I consider just for men to match beard colours? No,
Do it.
just for Lenny. No.
Wally and I have
I am.
just
I
red
am.
tinges.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
I've got a question here from Azza.
Yeah.
Have you considered creating information tabs on the Oz Life Facebook page? References on common asked questions like lawn grubbing control.
The file
If you
section.
go to the top of the page and there's a file section, it has all of that stuff. Has a Bible there that Mrs. B so kindly put together through all of our old school Tech Tuesdays that there is bulk info in there. So, Azza, if you have a look, there is stuff there.
The other thing we have talked about it. We haven't fully decided whether to do it or not, but is do like obviously this kind of informal one, but then do like really short, sharp, 10 minutes on almost like a presentation style on like lawn care basically. But you can generally get enough information on the Tuesday talks. Seriously.
That's right. Ask us a question, Wally will answer.
Is there such a thing as a nutgrass lawn, as in done properly to be
Oh.
a whole
Oh
lawn?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's been done.
My neighbours.
That guy, whoever, if you're looking out of your street, the guy on the left,
Yep.
he fangirled so hard when we were there.
Yeah.
He was out like he
Pulling
had
out that grass. He was
everywhere.
throwing it at you.
Suddenly he found all the time in the world to water his lawn. I hope he's not watching, but it was one of the funniest things.
He
There is
stood
no
out there,
more
yeah.
jealousy.
Just watching.
Yeah.
And then he'd get the phone out and be like,
That's
full-
so weird.
we fully got paparazzi. By
Yeah,
John's.
about 8 of us just rolled into Jono's place and just hammered his lawn.
There was
He
more
wasn't
than
even
8.
there.
I reckon
I was
there
in
was,
hospital.
I reckon
Yeah.
there was about 11 of us, to be fair.
Yeah.
By the time we included Grimace and everyone
Grimace
was
was
there.
there, yeah.
I think that was the
So
weekend
good.
I was moving house.
It
otherwise
was,
I would've been
yeah.
there.
It was.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And I just got a photo off. Oh, sorry, I just got a Facebook message off Lenny, just saying, "Geez, your hill's steep." And I'm like,
So-
what do you mean? There's a photo of him in my house, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And he didn't answer. And then I'm like, "Right." So then I texted my
Meanwhile, he's just had a hernia
Thanks, Laura.
operation in hospital, like
Yeah.
hurting. Can't laugh.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah.
What's
Rings
going
Laura,
on?
What's going on? Who's at home? Oh, no one. I'm like, well, there is, because Lenny's there. I was there, and what's going on?
Oh,
The
there's
big
Lenny,
rescue rigs out the
Yes.
front.
There's Dustin, there's
Fraser drove from Warwick
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
Johnny Lush.
He
was
just loves
there.
the
Yeah.
drive.
Loves it.
He loves
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's
I don't know
country
how he
club.
Manny
does
was
it.
I love
there.
John.
You were there. I was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We had, that was quite fun as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, when,
That's good.
when I can drive that far, I'm going to go and have a beer with him.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah. Take Jay Lush
Fraser.
with you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're secret pen pals.
Yeah.
Oh, they love fishing.
They love
Oh, do they?
fishing.
Yeah.
So
Oh really?
apart from the
Yeah.
page, they just in-gap
Yeah, well.
all day every
Yeah.
day about fishing. So
When would be the earliest I can renovate 250 square metres of wintergreen in Brisbane? September, October.
September.
Or
Yeah.
is this, you want to book me in or?
If
Yeah.
you-
Poor Lenny, because his calendar's nearly full.
Yeah.
I
If
can
you're
No,
see
it's
that.
not. There's plenty of room.
if you're
I'll
like
fix it.
hectic
No,
bowling green guy, mid-August.
Yeah,
No, we're starting to get warm days in mid-August.
yeah.
Last
You can
weekend,
back
I think
yourself.
it's,
last
is
weekend
to
in
do with
August.
soil temp. A lot of it's to do with soil temp.
Once you're comfortable above like 15, 16.
I think my bookings really start second half of August.
Yeah.
Craig Gresham, like he's a lunatic. Hook into it, mate.
Yeah.
He's great.
A lot of the bolos go early August.
You know, we used to religiously do mine the last weekend of August, so then these guys could really power all their renos up. And I was like first off the count off the rank every year, so I could get it out of the
I
way.
think Craig Gresham's the first off the charts every
Yeah.
year now. That's when I know it's time to do something. Check my calendar.
DJ Napkin has also asked. He must have been earlier. He mustn't have seen. Is that a Ramstein t-shirt?
Yes, it is, mate.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. I love the Stein.
DJ Napkin.
They are fantastic.
Sounds like a DJ I could like.
Yeah, mate, you go to one of their concerts. I reckon
I've
they
seen
go
Ramstein
through.
live.
Yeah, I reckon they
Amazing.
go through 500 litres of flamethrower juice
Yeah.
and about 1 million firecrackers. Unbelievable. They got these masks that they put on. They put on these helmet mask things, and
Amazing.
flames come out of them, like 30 metres, 30 metre
It's
flames out of the
unbelievable.
front of their face.
I reckon
Well,
I'd
he's
get
got a
5 million
microphone
litres.
singing. It's
It
lunatic.
must be like heat-proof microphone or something.
Oh, unbelievable. They're fantastic.
good.
I don't
You should
no
get
idea
them
what they're singing because it's all in German.
You should
I
get
have
them
no
out
idea.
for like a weed control video. Just playing.
Gotta get rid of Lantana.
How to get rid of that? House bailing.
August Reno.
Wow.
Hack Lenny's things with Ramstein. You'll get it done in no time.
Lawn hub. Sunny's on for that dome reflection off the fluoro. That's your head. Put your hat on, mate.
Well, I had hair up until yesterday. I haven't had a haircut since late December.
Wow.
And
Available on the Fanatics website,
They
ladies
are
and gentlemen.
good.
They adjustable, fully adjustable.
They're great for kids.
Yeah. The
Grass
Hey.
Gilligan.
There's a little present for you too. It's the make Aussie Lawns Great Again limited edition hat. They're no longer for sale. They're the ones that I've got left are
You ripper.
I wore mine to work,
yeah,
and
special.
my guys from work actually thought I had a drunk hat on. And they were real angry about it. And I was
It's
like,
that close.
I'll send a couple of them to the boys in the US, and I think they're scared to wear them.
It's almost like a bar room kind of
Yeah.
approach now.
straight to the pool.
So-
room, yeah.
What's the best steps to recover the tiff tough after the army worm's been through it?
For-
30 months. Pretty much all you can do.
Surfactant, like wetting agents as well.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have a lot of bare ground.
Yeah.
Cover.
Patches in the kite just ain't growing through. Have topsoil, but still got patches. Throw down seed in the patches, only to reseed the whole lawn.
Does he have?
Or
Has
reseed the
he
whole lawn.
looked at what's causing those patches? Like could be mites.
Sarah Louise.
She looked at what's causing those patches. Could
Yeah.
be mites.
So why are the patches not growing?
And where are the patches?
Yeah. Has she
Yeah.
taken a core? Is it patches because of insect damage, or is there a pest? Because
Yeah.
I've seen kaku like do that with mites. Mites could be an issue, but
Richard.
yeah.
just take a closer look at why those
Yeah.
patches aren't growing.
Googling
'cause,
grinders?
There's an app for grinders.
Hang on, let me look.
Sarah
Wait a
Louise.
minute.
Look, if you get stuck, sing out. Let us know. We'll help you out.
I'm going to bring up a trash talk question from earlier from Dominic. Thank you very much.
Trash talk, yeah.
Yeah. What's the best way to remove wooden spoons off your front lawn or your rugby league team's headquarters? I'm a tragic Broncos fan,
Same.
and I'm copping it deluxe, and I deserve every bit of it because I've done the same giving it to everyone for the last 20 years. So Lenny and I come up with a strategy is you stop using bifenthrin, the termites will come and they will eat the wooden spoons off your lawn. So
Yeah, when the Bronx one got the spoon, it was the greatest day of my life.
Oh,
I've rung up
so
to give it. I've rung up to give it to Gibbo, and he's telling me his neighbours have been out early that morning throwing spoons over the fence.
Mate, I made it into a necklace. I'll actually show you a photo. It is unbelievable. Because I've got a real close network of neighbours. It's just amazing. But over my back fence, there's a Roosters fan, like a dad and a son. His wife, Sharks fan. Over the back fence, on the other side is a Canberra fan. All watched it. It's just someone who's playing all the time. And I've fed it to them for years about how crap their teams are. So I come home on the day we win the spoon, I'm just copying it from every media source that I have. And I walk out my back lawn, I'll say I'm going to mow, take my mind off things, just zen out. And I go to start mowing, the mower starts, and I just start copping spoons over the fence. And all of them have highest score, 600 points conceded for the year. They've all got stats on every spoon. They got me so good. So I drilled them all up and I made them into a necklace, and now I wear it every time I go to watch it with the
That's
footy. I'll have to show you a photo.
Just
It's
makes
hanging
those
in my
wins,
shed.
makes those wins so much better though when we start winning
2006
again.
is a long time.
Prodigal
Yeah.
son is back though. Heavy as that.
Thoughts on
Yeah.
maintaining agridark?
Ask
Green Cooch, mate. Hook into it.
Ask Albie.
Can I tell you?
Best way to treat fungus in the soil of the lawn is
Should be right to
yeah. You're staying tonight, aren't you? You're all.
I'll be here.
You're
till-
still here from last week. What
I'll
are
be
you
here
talking
till
about?
next Tuesday.
Best way to treat fungus is find out what the actual fungus is. That's the key.
Is it in your lawn or?
Yeah. That's
Shiitake mushrooms if you come. Put 'em in
that's
your
the
ramen.
key. Jake is to know exactly what you're fighting. Is you can't
Oh yeah.
you can't use a
Wrong.
band-aid
That's
to
yours.
fight cancer. So yeah, we've got a great source in the group called Michelle Dickinson. Let's not call her a source. She's a
Yeah.
person and she's wonderful. And she's one of the best in Australia, if not the world, at disease diagnosis.
She's up there.
Um, so Jake, if you want to send me a private message, I can give you her deets, and she'll do a test for you if you're interested. And it's $120 or something like that.
What money well spent.
Yeah, when you consider that you know, a fungicide might cost you $200, and it might be the wrong one. It might not even work.
Yeah.
Or you buy 4 different bags of fert, try and treat it, but really it's fun.
Yeah.
Talk about the doc before and like doing anything for money. Just if anyone out there that works for a brewery and they want to sponsor Tuesday
100%.
nights,
Look, if anyone's out there who wants to sponsor the Carpet Grass Club with beer or Staminade or
Beer.
or and said biscuits or chips or pizza, well, we're open for bribes, mate. Like, we're okay with
that's
that.
about all that we'll do stuff for, really.
Yeah, no, we're good.
It's the key to
$20
our
is $20.
$20 is $20. So yeah, find out what it is. He's got Kaiku along with patches of Cooch.
Mm-hmm.
It looks pretty mixed. Will one eventually dominate over the other? Maps is about to start apparently.
Clint, get out of town, Clint D'Souza.
Depends what.
On YouTube, you're talking about the F1 with me, and on Lenny's, you're talking about maths.
Oh
What's
mate,
going on?
come on.
You
Go
got,
on,
you
mate.
got 2 different lateral growth rates. I'd say that the Kaiku will dominate laterally, like it just spreads laterally more quickly. So if you want to favour one or the other, just suppress whichever one you want. That you don't want growing.
Are you boys doing a naked calendar this year?
Oh.
I do one every year, but just for my neighbours. Walk out once a month naked.
It's the first of the month.
Just with a different hat on my head, and that's it.
There's a little bit less John on display in winter as there is in summer.
Oh yeah.
That's how they know what month it is.
Yeah, that's right. They know what season it is anyway.
Like the old pig in a blanket.
What should the soil temps be for a Reno following on? 20-ish. 22, I think actually is the number. Yes, I saw him big day out a couple of times too, Bob. They are
What? Oh, yeah.
Ramstein, back to the Ramstein. Tuesdays used to be Trump off Tuesdays. Nothing happened and no one liked it. Now we have this. This better than Lego.
Nothing's better than Lego.
But this is up there. No.
Well, yeah, Lego Masters is coming back soon in another series, and it's on a Sunday night, which is fine.
And that was
Doesn't take away from the Carpet Grass Club, we're right.
that was
That's
still like, I don't go for Newcastle, but they kind of have that working class vibe. And when they won that 97 grand final against Manly, like how much did everyone hate Manly? Everyone got on it, and then in that
I'm a North
Post-
Sydney Bears fan.
oh,
I really hate Manly.
yeah,
that was
the,
set up from
the
the
Northern
start.
Eagles didn't
Yeah.
that just
That was
Yeah.
Ken Arthurson set that up from the start.
Yeah.
He had it written into the agreement
Yeah.
that if the Northern Eagles failed as a franchise, Manly got to get the gig back and the
and
Bears
they
got
had to
sharpened.
go.
So as soon as they became the Northern Eagles, he actively campaigned and did everything he could to make sure the venture failed,
Wow.
so that Manly got the clear run back into the premiership
Bastard.
and the Eagles got the spear.
Silver tails. No wonder why that was so hated. But even still, that post match on the news, I think the Johns brothers were just high as kites.
Matty.
All the beers,
Oh,
and then
gosh, yeah.
Matty, they just
Better than
pan
Lego.
across. He said, "Better than Lego."
Opinion on using foliar sprays on Bermuda during this time of year to increase density and colour. I'm not sure you'll increase too much density as it colder, but colour, yeah, sure. Iron her up.
Yeah, you'll be hard pressed to get density right up there because it's just not. There's just no growth
Not that
rate.
time.
It's starting
No.
to slow down.
If you want density with Bermuda or Cooch, is growth regulators, foliar feeding, and do it in the growth season
And grooming as well,
and grooming. Yeah.
like to
Get
get
the
that
tillering.
divergent growth.
West Tigers aren't doing. Shut up.
Cowboys, how was that one?
Oh,
Well, they
just
won the second half.
Timmy Fido, mate.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that was impressive.
I
That
actually
was-
listened to Todd Payton on Triple M on the way over here, and he was like, I was considering my resignation for that during that second half.
Wow.
He's like, if we lose this from here, I'm giving up.
really.
I was like,
Wow.
geez, that's early in the
Yeah.
season to be saying that. On other NRL news, Johnny Morris just walked from the Sharks.
Did he really?
Really?
Straight after they named Craig Fitzgibbon as the
Coach
coach
for
for
next
next year, he literally
And for
packed
3
his
years
shit and
too,
left.
wasn't it?
Wow.
What were they promising like more years after?
Well, we're going to give him to the end of this year, and he's like, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
See you later.
Wow.
So
There's the
Wow,
guy.
there you
we'll
go.
see what happens. But that's fresh in off the
Wow.
Off the press.
off the press. Yeah.
There really is no loyalty though.
No,
How
no,
long did he play for
no.
the Sharks?
He's a good looking man too. How about we start on how
How's that
good the
bloke,
Mercedes
Smokies?
F1 team are?
Best
No.
looking of all time league players. Have you seen that? Down in camp. He's got
Oh,
that
he's
bloke in a bar.
NRL something on Instagram.
Bloke in a bar. He's got what is it? He does like the bloke league team, and it's just all the best looking of all time. Like, so it's like Craig Wing.
E.T.
How about we start it on how good the F1?
Conor Murray.
No.
Is it?
Cam Murray.
Cam Murray. That's it.
What's
Callum
the-
Murray.
What's the go with the Yanks setting fire to their lawns at this time of the year? Is it a
The Yanks?
different way to renovate? Has
Yeah.
anyone else seen this? I've
It's
seen
just
it.
a way to burn off organic matter easily without having to shift off site.
But a lot of their stuff is gets very this is Craig. He lives in Brisbane.
The difference in America is
There's no point doing it for us, mate. Like it's their grass is basically asleep when they do it, and I think they do it to get rid of the growth that's there, so the
That's
sun can
right.
hit the soil and warm it up quicker.
The other thing.
Something like that.
The other thing in America is, like, well, depending where you are, but the fire risk isn't as high.
Yeah.
So a lot of your lawn on fire in
Yeah.
Australia
Compared to over here.
is like signing a
Jail,
you know,
jail
a
warrant.
jail
Yeah.
term and sending it to
I've
the
got
police.
state forest 200 metres from my house.
Yeah.
I'm not lighting my
And
lawn
it's
on fire.
all, there's a lot of pine trees in there.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
suburb name as well.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
pack pines over the hill.
Yeah.
This is proper pine needle country.
Yeah,
Also
you
too-
guys are able to sort out your mic settings. No, they're not settings, mate. We got one.
We got one. Well, I got here now that the live chat is working better on YouTube than Facebook, so Clint's swapping between them.
Oh, okay.
Hence why.
Well,
he's
look, we
watching
got
us.
it's. Well, we'd like to thank the good people of Wish.com because that's
Sponsor.
where I bought them. Sponsor, want to sponsor us.
Sponsor.
So it's we've got two iPads. One goes to YouTube and one goes to Facebook.
I
and
did
there's
hit
a- There's a mic that goes up and it splits into two. So those two are the new ones. No. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they're the new ones.
Two of these are the
And
new
they're the
ones.
old ones. But they're the
If
same
anyone
thing.
can guess which one's the new ones, you can win a prize.
Or if you just want to know, pay us $10.
$10 too. So we're looking. It's more placement, so we might need to move that one and that one further
Yeah.
down there.
Letting Wally's voice is hoarse though today, so he's.
Well, I'm way away from it as well. I'm not really talking. I'm just mumbling.
Energetic dog. He's tearing through his dwarf buffalo,
Wolf buffalo.
especially now tents are dropping in Perth. Considering laying or seeding something new, what would you recommend? Tip top.
I didn't even know you could get dwarf buffalo. I think that's a good marketing term. Dwarf buffalo.
Someone's probably dribbled something to you and sold you on.
Or was it a dwarf that sold it to him?
I had
Look,
some, I had some
actually-
dribble. Jeff Thompson, I
Perth
messaged you.
in WA, like, Kaiku will be more wear tolerant than buffalo.
Yeah.
As that in terms of growth rate, and I'll handle that bit cooler winter in that kind of arid climate. That could be an option.
Sean reckons you need to cover your modesty with lawn grubs. He showers in a celebrant, thank you very much.
Who's that?
Him, when he goes nude for the neighbours. Is it possible to maintain couch golf greens in winter in North Brisbane, or would you recommend oversow with rye? Rye needs
Golf
to be cut.
greens?
Yeah, you don't oversow. Rye needs to be a little bit longer.
Have you been to? Well, every golf club doesn't. Like,
No, not
some
anything
golf
different.
clubs do a little bit of oversowing in shade, but that's about it.
Yeah.
It's with Poa trivialis, but
Some of them
most-
raise the height, cut like a mill.
yeah. So go
Yeah.
from like 3 to 4 or 4
Yeah.
to 5 or something.
Yeah.
But there's really not much more. And you go to like a bowling green on a Sunday half,
Yeah,
and
they're
it's,
cutting at 10 cents.
it goes from 10 to
cent
20
piece.
cents,
Yeah.
and you know, huge gains in
So-
height there.
For those who are watching who don't know about cutting heights from bowls greens, when they say 10 cent or 20 cent, that's a 10 cent piece laying on its side. That's the height of cut.
The depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a 20 cent and then a 50 cent. So it's,
I think it's
half a
like
mil.
0.8 and 1.1 mil or something.
oh, we've got 12 minutes to
So
go and
quarter,
50
quarter of
comments
a
to get
turn on
through.
my shifter, and it still doesn't do that. It's just too much. Nah.
So, Casey, maybe go up a mil
Yeah.
and then just do foliar feeds, mate. That's about
Colour it as well if you want.
it. Yeah, colour
Does
it
it
up.
draw heat?
Yeah.
Some people use black dye and then green pigment dye draws.
Jono, he's a Manly Bear. Oh, not Manly Bears.
Oh.
North Sydney Bears boy.
Manly Bears.
Manly Bears.
Long live Tommy. Yeah, we lost Tommy during the
Yeah.
week. Tommy
Yeah.
was an absolute
Yeah.
legend. Like he was just
Zero,
would not like to
zero
play
F
footy
bombs
against
given. He
Yeah.
just zero Fs.
Yeah.
Like, what a guy,
Who's that?
Tommy Rodonicus.
Oh,
mate,
Like
that's sad.
just,
yeah.
cool.
What a legend.
that's
But,
the
you know,
first time I've ever seen Spud Carroll cry. I watched him on RL 360 and just bawled his
He's a
eyes out.
character.
He was
Yeah.
Build
a
it
brutal
now.
guy on the footy field, but you know, in the time that he's been retired from footy, like he's done
A lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's just
more
given-
than pretty
yeah.
much anyone for charity. You know, like he's
Yeah.
just an incredible.
I always heard he had time for everyone.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
there's this classic video. I shared it on Facebook. I'll share it on the Fanatics, so I think it's worth it. It's him talking to the Western Magpies, like when in New South Wales Cup. I think they were down at half time, and it's just the spiel he gives these blokes.
Yeah.
I think there's a
If
lot
you
of swearing in it. But
if you
Oh,
don't
they-
go out there red dub,
there we go.
There's also a classic photo of Tommy Rodonicus in the Kawana Dolphins clubhouse from when we used to play footy up there as kids.
oh wow.
And there's a club photo, and Tommy Rodonicus is in the photo with opposition teams, and he's got the plums hanging out the bottom of his shorts. Peels across, and the photo is on the wall, and it's got schlong and everything. Just
Meat and
Well,
potatoes.
yeah, me and kind of be silly, but it's one of the. It was on the wall.
Iconic.
I don't know if it still is, but it was for years. And like I was like under 15s or something, going there and play footy, and like just walking past. It's at pure eye height. It was just hilarious.
You have to go and touch it
Oh.
before every game.
That's right.
Ask
Thankfully it wasn't
Wally
a scratch.
now he's had a drink. If Lenny Lawler has a shed with mowers in and also Gibbo, if Lenny takes one from Gibbo, Lenny has twice as many. But if Gibbo took one from Lenny, they'd both have the same amount. How many in each shed to start with?
Well done.
I think Gary's been on the tubes.
It's a classic stitch up.
For those of you who don't know, I've probably got more of Lenny's gear in my shed than he does.
You probably do, actually.
Story of my life.
I've got.
Can I borrow this? Can I borrow this?
I've got a scarifier and
So I don't even have to answer. You're gonna tell him.
I've got a scarifier and 2 mowers in my shed, and that's it.
3.
Oh, that doesn't count as an ornament. And an edger, a lawn edger.
That'll be a table, glass table soon enough.
That belongs to Shelley.
Yeah.
I gave it to her so that I didn't sell it. Most cost-effective way of removing rye from cooch come spring. Plasmodium killer or something? I don't know.
Drought stress it.
Yeah,
Like,
drought stress it.
then you're not spending water.
Just
money on
dry it.
water or
Yeah, dry it out.
lower your cutting height.
But generally coming into spring, we sort of start getting a little bit less rain and,
Yeah.
you know,
It's a trade-off. It
Yeah.
depends how much stress you want on your cooch like earlier into the season. Like
Yeah.
because if you leave your eye in, you got to be a bit of a guru. Like I think we've said it before, but Mel at Suncorp, so Melcorp, he's
Yeah.
a master at transitioning rye out of cooch. Like he's probably one of the best in Australia.
Has to be.
But you have to know what you're doing, like to get it right, and it's all to do with cutting heights and drought stress.
The Suncorp Stadium, it's the work that Mel does there is unbelievable.
For
Like,
the
we were
work
good-
that any superintendent, any greenkeeper, it's so people don't realise. Like we do stuff on lawns, and we might spend 10 hours a week on lawns.
Yep.
You look at like the average superintendent, like for one, the pay's not amazing. It's a lifestyle decision, so a lot of
Yeah.
them are in it because they love doing it.
Yeah.
And the hours that they work, particularly at like some of those premier golf courses, it's into the 60
Or
to
the
80 hours
stadiums.
a week.
Like
You know.
Mel works there all day. He's there for events 3 times a week.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Plus he's then got to, when he comes to work, most of the stadium's in shade.
Yeah.
So he's got to try and deal with like
Yeah.
the grandstand shade as well.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
Yeah.
there's so much that goes on.
Like that stadium was built for the Broncos weren't even playing there at the time. There was the Crushers were playing,
Yeah.
and the soccer guys were playing at.
The Reds were paying at Ballet.
It was really
the
built
Reds were at
for
Ballymore.
for
For
one
Origin.
team for one season of NRL.
Yeah.
It wasn't built for
And for
6
state of
different
origin,
codes
a week.
and
it was built for
Yeah.
state of origin and test matches, and that was it.
it probably has
now-
about 4 times the use of what it
Definitely.
like
Yeah.
At a minimum, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and it's no different for.
Yeah, the
like-
Reds are not the Reds. The Raw is gone. To Red Cliff, it's not as bad.
I think there's a week, I can't remember what week it is, I'll suss it out, but when the week is, it's like thank a superintendent or like thank a turf manager week, which the industry get behind. But we should, as fanatics, should do that as well, because like, yeah, we run horns and stuff, but the level of work that goes on at stadiums, at golf courses, it's
Well, actually,
they do it so
unbelievable.
we can enjoy the footy or the sport.
Yeah, that's right.
You
Yeah,
know, they do it
Yeah.
for them as well,
yeah,
but they're doing it
Yeah.
for us as a spectator.
It's like when you
Yeah.
walk into like Gabba and Test match, you get I do and get excited, you sit down, and you're just like, oh, how good is that?
Yeah.
Are you,
It's like
is it you're Liverpool or Arsenal?
Liverpool?
Liverpool.
Hey,
Because I know
I'm copping grief about that.
I know Arsenal's manager used to say, like, Arsene Wenger, is it?
Yeah.
Used to say that you build your stadium around your pitch, and the pitch is like the crown and jewel of the football team.
Yep.
You know, and that was like at the time when he said that, they were like one of the top teams in the Premier League.
Well, that was Leicester's whole theory as well. When you've seen some of the Leicester greenskeepers designs that he used to do,
Yeah.
and he spent that much and got that intricate. Every other greenkeeper cracked it, so now they've got a set way they have to do it for Premier League.
That's
Yeah,
FIFA.
right.
That's a FIFA.
Yeah.
rule.
FIFA rule,
Yeah,
but
it's a
they can
FIFA
only
thing.
do that. But for other games, for like different cups and stuff, they bring out
Yeah.
how he does like a full
Yeah.
Leicester in the. It's
Yeah, well,
amazing.
But the pitch itself is like what makes the sport
Mm.
what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like with, you know, well, I find Suncorp a completely different style of game to even Sydney.
Mm.
But that's what makes the sport so great, like how
Yeah.
that team can adapt to that wetter, more greasy condition at Sydney versus, you know, that more open style of play at Suncorp, you know.
Yep.
And it's different all around the country.
Where were we? We're nearly finished. What core aeration machine do you own? Which one do you own? Oh, you got the brake disc.
What's that?
What core aeration machine do you own?
Who, me?
You've got the brake disc.
I've got 2 disc brakes with
Oh, yeah.
cores between.
You've showed me
manual
that
one.
thing.
And it punches holes as deep as a petrol one, except it takes, well, on a small lawn it's about the same amount of time, so you can do about 100 square metres, probably time equivalent.
Yeah.
Once you get bigger than that, it's hard going. So
Mm.
I now have about 350 square metres of lawn, like including like the nature strip, which isn't mine. I reckon it would take me 2 hours to do, and I'd be knackered by the end of it. But it works okay. Cool little invention. I actually bought it from the States, but I think you could make it pretty easy.
I've seen it. It's very redneck.
Yeah.
I've got 3 aeration machines.
Same. Lenny's
I've
ones.
got 2 Billy Goat PL 1800s. Well, one's a PL 1801, which is at your place at the moment.
Yeah.
And the PL 1800s at Manny's, which is dangerous.
Parked out in the trailer out the front.
We don't talk about
I
that.
don't talk about that anymore. And I've got a Groundsman 345 HD.
That thing is a weapon.
It's a weapon. It's small enough to get into pretty much every backyard, but it punches as deep as a Toro Procol.
Yeah, it's probably like the step between like residential and commercial.
It
really.
uses the same tines as a Toro Procol.
Yeah.
So, so
But-
it's got a huge range of tines.
Oh,
Oh,
you
not
use
one.
19 mils in my house. 19 mil internals.
No, 22s.
Was it 22
Yeah,
internals?
I used them today.
Did you?
Yeah, 22 internals and 25 on the outside.
So that's what you can do with like a mat, like a really good quality aerator, is like really make change quickly.
Yeah.
to
So
your
I-
surface.
That thing.
I've got 6 mil inside diameter cores that I used on golf greens. I've got huge amounts.
Those solid tines though, the ones that real spear look. There's some full on medieval stuff there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just about to get a set of chisel tines. I'm going to get onto Eliza at Turf Tines and get
do they
some.
sing K-San to you? Is that what it is?
Oh wow.
Chisel? No, cold chisel?
I'm not into country rock. Let's not have the conversation about how bad cold chisel are. Yeah, a groundsman, and I've got a couple of billy goats. The billy goats are great. There's hardly anything goes wrong with them. They take a lot of punishment and they do a bloody good job. The groundsman is more for, I suppose, professional type commercial work, but I use it on backyards too. So, what about fine fescue rather than rye? No, no.
Slow growing. It's like the zoysia of cool season.
I don't know.
It depends what type of fine fescue you're going as well. Like there's a fair few different types. Or are they just talking about like the species, like the cultivar group? Like, cause there's like sheep fescue, Chewings fescue, hard fescue, which fit in the fine fescue.
Oh, he's going to machine some tines up for me and heat treat them.
There you go.
Good man. Thank you, Troy.
Online. There you go.
Ninja tines are very
Straight
popular in the USA. Yes, they are. I can get ninja tines here too, turf tines. I might give them a go.
I think the thing with
No, they're really small. I think. I don't know. I'll have a look.
I was going to say about fine fescue is it's probably like as finicky as zoysia. Like you don't want to feed it a lot. You probably want quite a sandy profile. Where you see fine fescue a lot, St Andrews for example, like on the surrounds and the roughs and things like that. Some of those sandbelt courses down south, some of them do have it, but not all of them. It's kind of a rarity in Australia now, but more of the link style, those coastal courses in the UK, you see fine fescues a lot.
Right back down.
Yeah. You can actually grow greens of fine fescue if you get your hunting heights, but it's difficult. It's hard to do.
Not for the average punter.
No.
Here we go. Question for each of you. Best cylinder mower under $2,000, under $3,000, and best mower over $3,000.
Woo!
I'll go first on that. Best new cylinder mower under $2,000. I don't think there is one that I know of.
That's not where you should be putting our Mentos.
Best new one.
Not brand new for under $2,000.
Isn't that what's a?
Oh yeah, no.
Super
Super
Swift?
Swift is
Yeah.
under $2,000.
So is the Cox.
Yeah.
What about those new
A Jono.
things?
Yep.
Are they?
A Jono.
Are they? Yeah.
You can get him for $10. Yeah, the Super Swift value for money and warranty, I think, are bloody good.
I don't think you can go past them really.
No.
can
They're pretty much the same design
Pretty
as Scott
good.
Bonner, aren't they?
Yeah.
And brand new with a warranty rather than buying off someone that's rebuilt it and you don't really know what's on the inside.
Yeah.
Under $3,000 for me, that's not really. I just go second hand. I'm really good in that range, and over $3,000 for me is my master way.
I know 3 you can get some used greens mowers for that much, like Toros and sometimes Jakes and John Deeres. I think we saw a John Deere come up on the page the other day with a grooming kit on the front of it.
There was.
Whose was that? That's like a 260B or something.
Oh, that's Chris Campion's trying to flog one off at the moment.
Yeah, that
Not
was
flog one.
pretty-
He's
that-
selling one.
that-
Sorry, Chris. No, it's a good mark. Like he
that
looks
was,
after his gear.
that was good, Nick. I think he
It's
had 2
$3.5
mowers.
grand. $3.5.
I think he had
He's
2
got
for
the, he's
four
got
and a
the,
half, but if you split them, they were.
he's got the ransoms that used to belong to Brett Morris, who bought it from someone else. So, yeah.
Yeah, right.
What would I? Yeah, super. I'll probably just get Super Swift or a Cox. They're both 4-year warranty.
I haven't played with the Cox one yet.
No, I haven't played with the Cox.
My wallet's in the car.
But I have. I've seen. Well, there used to be a TPE, and I've seen a couple of those, and they were okay.
Because they're the Cox, aren't they?
Yeah.
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 The kind of weird split blade thing approach.
Yeah, and it's designed to throw the clippings into the middle
Into
of
the
the capsule.
guts.
So.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah, okay.
anything anything over $3,000.
Maui, surely.
Yeah, I don't know. The last Maui I bought was $3.5 grand, and it was used. That's the pig there.
Yeah,
The
but
scalp pig.
buy
scalp pig.
over $3,000.
Buy
what does
over
it mean? Can you
$3,000,
spend-
whatever
Scalp
you
I'm going to get a triplex.
How much can I spend on the over $3,000
Right.
section? I'm getting a Baroness.
Yeah, they're right on Baroness.
No, I'd probably look. I'm very, very happy with the 26-inch high cut Mowmaster that I've got, the HC26. I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, right.
So that's my ultimate mower.
My older brother's turning 50 this year, and I've done everything to convince him to go Mowmaster, but he lives at Sanctuary Cove, wants to show off, and he's getting a Swordman instead. I know, I've tried.
Interesting. It's a lot of money. Okay. Yeah, I'd probably go Super Swift or Cox. I don't really know enough about them, but maybe Super Swift but I don't know. And then
The fact they're Brizzy.
between 2 and 3, I'd probably go like a used Toro, Greensmaster 1000, from a good course who's flicking it away. And then over 3, I'd probably go a Toro Flex, like battery powered with the brush and the grooming kit on the front. Thanks very much.
Being selfie, Cole.
Yeah, I think under the 2 it would have to be Super Swift. I really don't think you can go past the warranty and that with them.
Yeah.
Or the service.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And as you said, you know, they're in Brisbane, which is great for us.
Well, I think Cox are in Brisbane too.
Are they?
Yeah.
You know, and
Well,
for us,
Simon Chin's had something to do with him.
Oh, okay.
Chinny's cylinders.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's a busy boy, so.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm a rotary guy.
Helicopter.
So, yeah. So,
Flymo, are you going full rotary? Flymo on it? My in-laws just got a Flymo.
Yeah.
Because I built them this mound with Zoysia on it. And they bought a Flymo for the mound. I'm like, looks like we better put a Zoysia line in or something and Flymo the whole lot. Keen.
Hey, I see the guys on the golf course sometimes with the fly.
Have you seen the petrol ones?
Yeah, the petrol ones to do all the bunker surrounds and stuff.
It's like that is a
They-
OH&S.
They look like a mean bit of gear to hang on to. Like, you do not want to.
I actually saw a video, I don't even know how or where I saw it, saw a video this morning
Red tube.
of a bloke with a petrol Flymo.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
This thing
Toro
was
make them.
insane.
Yeah, Toro and Jacobson,
Yeah.
they do a good number.
Well,
And it's a lot of power to helicopter a whole piece of unit
Yeah.
Up there.
up in the air and float it.
and this guy knew nothing about lawns. He just bought a property that had this on it and thought he'd see if it'd start.
Oh, good.
And it did. And he's like, yeah, right, we're on here.
It's a different.
Yeah.
You can't do the old straight mow. It's a different kind of.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like mowing with a brush cutter.
Or,
with a
yeah.
deck in front of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I could have used
or
it
it's like
yesterday.
using a concrete as helicopter if you've
Yeah.
ever had done
Yeah,
it in
yeah,
slabs.
same thing.
It's
You can just
exactly the
you
same.
can get away on you if you don't hang on to him.
Good videos of them.
Good.
Yeah.
Based in Grafton, northern New South Wales. Don't lean on that too much. That's the dodgy bloody sawhorse.
No, I was just sitting forward. Bit how you
But could be
There's a bit how
classic
you going.
YouTube,
There's a
right?
temporary set on this one. Based in Grafton, northern New South Wales. Hello, Garrett. Hasn't got anyone local who can do a grind on his reel and bed knife. Thinking of sending them away for a grind. Is there any benefit getting a grind done when they're still in the mower, or taking them out and sending them off?
Depends if you want to, yeah, they can adjust your reel to bed knife while it's there,
Yeah.
and then you don't have to do that. Otherwise,
Because ultimately, you're getting. It's called a cylinder because it looks like a cylinder. You're getting an engineered surface, so it's purely, cylindrical, and you're getting the bed knife ground, so it's perfectly level as well. So whether that's done on the mower or not, it ends up with the same result. The cylinder is a pure cylinder with the right angles of, whether you're getting a relief ground or whatever.
Being faced exactly to it.
And the bed knife is being cut at the right angle for your mower, and then it's up to you later on to put it back together and make sure it lines up properly.
just on you talk about like the facing of reels and on bed knives and stuff. Toro have done like a heap of work on the shape
unbelievable.
of the reel on the bed knife and the effect it has on like the aftercut, but also the effect it can have on turf quality, because Toro actually have their own agronomists in the US.
Yeah.
And so it can actually affect like that cut quality actually affects like obviously like how well that plant handles disease, but also the inflection that the plant's cut at as well. So like there's a huge
The
thing.
amount
like,
of tech Toro do
Yeah.
into getting them to cut better.
Unbelievable.
But that guy did I'm pretty sure I've seen him do a video on the difference between the groove, the Whaley roller and the smooth roller, and
Yep.
they did like they did a proper long-term study, and they weighed the amount of clippings they got from using one mower on the same amount of turf that had the same amount of inputs into it, and they got a lot more clippings from a whaley roller than they did a smooth roller.
Just quickly, just going back to Garrett too. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure there's someone in either Lismore or Casino that should be able to help you out. Like, just can't remember.
I've actually seen that come up on the page.
I distinctly remember though, like, I don't know if it still exists, because there's an old fella that used to sell like rare greens mower machine, like parts and stuff. Because when I bought an old Atco, like a 1950s Atco, like the 2-stroke kickstart, he was the only bloke that would like sell you like rings for the piston and stuff, and he was down that way somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a fella down there somewhere
I think
that does
it
stuff.
might be Casino.
Just maybe Garrett ring around a few places and
Yeah, suss it out. Even if you have a local mower shop, sometimes like the local mower shop go,
We'll know someone.
Bob used to do that, and he's not here anymore, but he's got like 48 grinding machines, like, you know, in a garage down the road, like.
how's this? My neighbour,
Yeah.
my neighbour Leo, who works for Jim Boom Turf. How's that? I'll move into a place. Run the
Next
Fanatics, and I'll move into a bloke next door to a bloke who works for Jim Boom Turf.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says to me, "Oh, you like cylinder mowers?" This is back when I first moved in. I said, "Yeah, I love them. I use them all the time." And he goes, "Oh, I sold my cylinder grinder 12 months ago." I went, "Oh, what?" He goes, "Yeah, I had a cylinder grinder set up in the shed."
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he goes, "Oh, you're joking me." So yeah, how? He goes, "No, just didn't do anything. It just didn't get any work." I said, "Mate,
I've got $10 here.
$20 is $20. But yeah, so that was pretty sad. Now I do it with a dodgy ankle grinder.
And the back,
No, I don't.
and the
What
back
not
hopper.
to do?
What not to do with a mower.
That's skill industrial.
Those the mower blades, the wheel are in the little white bucket, the ones I sharp with the knife sharpener.
Give me a look at this.
They're bad.
Are they cool?
I heard.
No. Are they in there?
Oh yeah, they've already oxidised.
Oh, they're rusted up.
So for those of you who don't know, LennyLovesWish.com bought a knife sharpener off there.
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, the knife sharpener
No,
didn't come from
no,
Wish.
that
Oh,
was-
I'll look out.
No, that came
Are you
from.
cheating on Wish?
Yeah, it was a case,
Oh,
a
yeah.
case of insomnia,
Can I have a look?
and I was scrolling through Instagram one night, and there it was, the knife sharpener. So I bought
It's
it.
definitely a thinner edge.
Mm.
Because normally that's like flat,
Yeah,
and then
I,
it travels down.
I might have sped the process up with an angle grinder.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how I used to do mine too, was with the grinder and just
Well,
get it as sharp as I could.
Yeah, but with these ones,
Until I
swing
went
back
to
blades,
Bushranger, and
don't
then-
sharpen swing back blades, just
Until I
throw
went-
them away and buy a new pair. They're like $15.
Yes.
Until I went with the guys and they were explaining to me about the regulations and stuff around and what can happen if you hit. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm never hitting these with the angle grinder ever again.
That's pretty much what I did.
It's not only that though, like
That's
you,
the only one I
you,
use.
you use them after you've done like a heavy top dress, and within like 6 weeks after that top dress, you get your mower on the side or whatever, you have no blade left.
Yeah.
Almost. Like it's that abrasive,
Yeah.
the sand. So
Yeah.
that's, I think we had that question come up, like how often should you change your review blades? I reckon it's 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Like thereabouts.
If you think of the casino, Lismore, look up, let me know.
Yep.
Yep.
Will do.
Yep, we will. Golf course, not interested in doing it. What?
Oh, golf course isn't interested in doing the sharpening.
The
for it.
sharpening.
Grafton, is that anywhere near Coffs Harbour? No.
A lot of them don't do it because it could be a potential OH&S risk.
Yeah.
Because if they were to sharpen it and then it goes to them and something happens,
Yeah.
who's accountable? It's probably the golf course who did it, so they probably want to steer clear of it. It's probably more a decision from that side of things.
But if you happen to have a beer with the greenskeeper in a pub
Yeah.
one day, hit him up.
Mention it. That's right.
Yep.
After you buy the second shout in the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
We're
there you
done.
go. So we wandered up, we've gone way overtime today.
Beauty.
Yeah. We're nearly up to 2 hours.
Nearly
isn't
over
it?
2 hours, this is supposed to be a 1 hour show.
We've had 18 people watching the whole time.
On the tube.
On the tube. I don't know how many times. We've had up to 90 there for a while.
Bloody
Wow.
beautiful.
No, beautiful.
People coming in and out. But anyway,
Alright.
Wally's keen to shut it
ladies
down.
and gents, thank you
Yep.
very much for watching it again. We'll be back in
2
2
weeks.
weeks. We did
What?
an extra week last week to make up for the lockdown
Yep.
kerfuffle. But back in 2 weeks, I think special guest might be Chad Chadwick.
Chadson.
The Chadson.
The Chad.
So yeah, cheers. Thanks.
Cheers.
Just click X on it.
We're still on.
They're still on.
Don't know how to stop this one.
Play
there
Renovation
you go.
flat out. YouTube's still going.
How do I stop it? Just click X.
DMX. Oh, we didn't talk about him either, damn it.